I often get emails from viewers asking for advice on choosing between a new Alienware laptop or a new Razer laptop. The thing is, I've always thought that they were quite different from each other. These two companies have devices that just look quite different from each other, but I can understand the question because when you look into it, they're both premium gaming laptop brands. They're both offering these thin 14, 15, and 17-inch devices, but the big thing is price. These are both super expensive. I think these are the most expensive gaming laptops on the market, so I can understand why people would want to make the right decision when it comes to something like this, right? Okay, I'm gonna start off with this conversation with a more technical discussion. Like, we're gonna talk about the build and some performance differences, but then we're gonna wrap up with some bigger picture stuff. So let's start off with, I guess, the aesthetics. Both Alienware and Razer have a design aesthetic that is shared through the family. It's like the X14 and 15 and 17, they're just like bigger versions of each other. Same thing with the Razer, the Blade 14, Blade 15, Blade 17, they just get bigger and bigger. And it's a cool design aesthetic, but no other gaming laptop does this. Like, this is entirely unique to these two companies. Like, if you think about MSI, Asus, Acer, Lenovo, like literally no one else does this because, I mean, it looks cool, but it does implement some restrictions and limitations as to what you can do with the product when they all have to look like one another. The Razers have a very simple kind of MacBook-like vibe to it. It's like almost like a black MacBook with the green snake logo up top, but it's a very industrial look. I've always liked it, but it's a very standard way of building a laptop, right? It's just, there's nothing super special going on. And if you look at the thermal system, the fans are just pulling air through the laptop. Very traditional way of cooling things. On the Alienwares, so these all have it's almost like a extension on the back of each laptop. It's like this 2 or 3 inch segment at the tail end of the laptop, and they pack a lot of the thermal components back here, like the heat pipes, the heat sinks. A lot of it is in this back segment, and it gives these devices better thermal performance. It's just a better way to deal with the heat. Now, you might be wondering why the X14 has a lower GPU wattage than the Blade 14, but it's only because of the chip. This is running an Intel chip, a much hotter chip, higher wattage chip, so it has to compensate for it. But in general, having this trunk, this like tail end of the device, gives the device better thermal performance. But the disadvantage is size. These Alienware devices are not normal size laptops. They're actually quite large in terms of the footprint. So if you look at this Alienware X15, it doesn't look particularly big until you place the Blade 15 on top of it. Like, this is the same screen size, and they're both technically 15-inch laptops, but this is a lot bigger. In fact, most 16-inch devices are actually smaller than this device, and this thing doesn't even fit into my backpack. Like, my regular backpack, X15 doesn't fit into it. So you get nice performance gains, it just comes with a lot of size. The other thing that's kind of unfortunate about the Alienware design is that even with the larger chassis like this, you don't get particularly large screens. This is still a standard 16:9 aspect ratio screen, which is so strange, right? It's got like all this real estate to work with, but it still only has room for the small screen. And the other thing, if you look closely at the frame, I don't even think they could put in one of those larger 16:10 aspect ratio screens into this panel area because there's just physically no more room for a display. So if they had to change any of that, they'd have to redesign a lot on this device, unfortunately. But the good thing that comes with this rear segment is that you get all the ports on the back. It just keeps your workspace clear, and like you just plug up all your power, USB, all in the back, and then you're just like working in a nice, clean environment. Now, if we take a look at the internals, both the 14-inch devices have a single stick of storage and RAM that's not replaceable. The 15-inch devices both have 2 slots of storage. The X15, however, has its RAM baked on, so you can't ever upgrade or replace that. On the Blade 15, it's got 2 sticks of replaceable RAM, so you can swap that out whenever you'd like. Now, on the 17-inch devices, you can see the quad fan setup on the Alienware. We also have 2 sticks of RAM and 2 slots of storage, which is the same as the Blade 17. Now, in terms of the displays, both companies use great panels, but Razer has more options. They have 1080p, 1440p, 4K in all of the devices. Alienware, for whatever reason, on the X17, you can't get a 1440p panel. On the X15, you can't get a 4K panel. It's like the strangest thing. Razer has it all, and they have this new thing. So this, I was gonna do a dedicated video on this, but I decided to save you time, include it in here. So this is the world's first high refresh OLED panel on a laptop. It's phenomenal, like truly phenomenal. It has incredible contrast ratio, super rich colors. It looks awesome. 1 millisecond response time because it's an OLED panel, and 240 hertz. Like, it's just the dream screen, right? This is everything I've ever wanted on a gaming laptop panel. It has fundamentally changed the way that I look at laptop screens. Like, this is the screen that I want on every gaming laptop. OLED, 240 hertz, and it maintains its color accuracy as you adjust brightness. It's truly something special. This, I think, is the future, or at least the near future of gaming laptop screens. A quick note on the keyboards. I really like how both brands have done their keyboards. They're both comfortable to type on, easy to get used to, even their 14-inch devices. Neither company uses number pads currently. Alienware, though, does have a mechanical option if you're looking for one, and they also have their very unique RGB trackpad. Okay, so that's the technical stuff. I wanna move this conversation over to, like I said, the bigger picture stuff. So one of the things that I think is kind of veiled in the computer industry is just how big of a company Alienware is compared to Razer. Like, I don't think they've ever announced their sales figures, at least not publicly, but if I had to guess, this is just a guess based on my understanding of what is going on in this industry, I would say that Alienware sells like maybe 5 to 10 times the number of laptops as Razer does. Maybe even more, but that's just a rough estimate. Now, because of that massive difference in, I guess, scale and company size, these guys do stuff very differently from these guys. So the first thing is, I guess, when you order a device from them, because Alienware is so big, these guys build their systems like as you order it. Like, you configure your system however which way you want it, and then they'll ship it out to you, which is cool. You get the configuration that you particularly want, but there's a huge wait time. Sometimes it's like 4, 5, 6 weeks. Right now, I think it's like 8 weeks. Huge lead times from when you order to when you get it. Razer is unlike that. You get it within a week, and if you go to like box stores like Best Buy, Amazon, you just pick it up because it's readily available. This is how they have to do their business being a smaller company. The other thing that comes with massive scale and size is support. And when you're small, you can't do the same thing. Alienware has next day, like on-site service. Like, if there's something wrong in your device, Alienware will send a team out to your house or your office. They'll look at it and they'll try to fix it at the comfort of your own home or office space. Razer doesn't have that. If anything goes wrong here, you got to send it back to the company. And they're very different from like a user's perspective, from a consumer's perspective. This is much more convenient. It's actually quite difficult to offer this kind of support. Alienware can do it. It's something special. Now, my overall take on this isn't like, brand X or brand Y is better. I think this was supposed to be informative for you guys if you're in that privileged position to be able to purchase something like this. Now you know a little bit more information as to what the different brands are doing. Personally, despite the amazing support that you get with Alienware and the cool aesthetics, I love the RGBs, I love the whole design they have going on, I just like the size of Razer's products, and I like the simplicity of everything that's going on with their particular laptop. Okay, that wraps this up.